What do graduation dreams mean? Graduation dreams can often be interpreted as symbols of accomplishment, success, moving on to the next phase of life, or concluding some sort of process. For instance, it can represent a sense of pride and accomplishment in your personal or professional life. Maybe you got a diploma, maybe you got a job that pays really well, or maybe you landed your dream job. Maybe you met somebody that you think you can spend the rest of your life with. Whatever the case may be, when you have a graduation dream, your subconscious is trying to make you realize that something big is either happening in your life or has already happened. It is important to understand that you are in the process of becoming. This is always the case. And if you are unaware of how things progress through your life, it's very easy to find yourself constantly chasing happiness because there is no conclusion. There is no closure. A lot of people are forced to realize that they've had it good when things fall apart. Maybe they go through a divorce. Perhaps they lose their job. Or they meet with an unfortunate health emergency. It is only during these times that you have the luxury of looking back and realizing that things weren't so bad. But when you're constantly chasing after what you think is success or what you think is happiness, you end up redefining those things. And you make the whole process useless because you never get there. You're constantly moving goalposts. You're constantly redefining what happiness, success, or achievement are. When you have a graduation dream, your subconscious is telling you that you need to recognize what the goalposts are and not only acknowledge them, but accept them and ultimately embrace them. What does it mean to dream of a graduation ceremony for someone else? If you dream that somebody else is going through a graduation ceremony and you're just part of the crowd witnessing the event, it may indicate that you are sharing somebody's joy. You're also maybe feeling a sense of pride for them. For a lot of people, this is quite an achievement because they're so wrapped up in themselves that they cannot share other people's joy. This really is too bad because if you've ever gone through anxiety or depression, a lot of that it speaks to the fact that you are so wrapped up in yourself and so focused on what's going on with you personally that you have lost touch with the rest of the universe around you. By being a little bit more selfless and sharing other people's joy and feeling their pain or practicing compassion, you become less anchored to your individual self-interest. And this leads to happy results like a higher resistance to depression and a better life perspective. Depending on the context of seeing somebody else's graduation play out in your dream, this can also indicate a sense of enviousness. A lot of people are envious in the sense that they want whatever it is that the other person has. It's in their minds, they're just engaged in a simple process of taking what somebody else has. But other people suffer from a worse kind of envy. They don't really care about the good thing that happened to the other person. They don't really care that about the fact that the person has a better car or a nicer job or a better spouse. Instead, what they're really envious about is that this person is happy. It's that they moved on or they moved up. That is what they're envious about. They don't care about the specific benefit or advantage the person has. They simply just are fuming about the fact that these people are doing better and they are somehow doing worse. This is the worst form of envy because you are desiring harm, degradation, or loss to other people. Not because you want their stuff, but because you are feeling inadequate, feeling wounded, or feeling incomplete. You need to address this issue because your subconscious is right now sending you some hints, but this mindset is not going to lead you to somewhere positive. In fact, it can be your undoing. What is the meaning of seeing your graduation ceremony in a dream? If the main focus of your dream involves you graduating, getting that diploma, walking on the stage, and being photographed by a lot of people, this can indicate that you have finally decided to set goals. Either that or you have decided to start the process of identifying goals that may be worth pursuing. Whatever the case may be, this is a good start. This is a good sign because, for the most part, you have lived your life thinking you have goals. Please understand that goals are not automatic. Just because you think you have goals doesn't mean you actually have them. In a 50-year study done by Harvard among its graduates, it turns out that the number one indicator of success, regardless of a person's race, background, family composition, IQ, or any other common factors that supposedly influence success, the number one factor is whether they set goals or not. That's how you can tell a person who basically flounders through the rest of their life and people who end up doing something significant. You have to decide to set goals. This is a key step. And for that to happen, you have to understand what goals are and what they're not. When you see yourself graduating in your dream, involved in some ceremony, your subconscious is telling you that you either need to set goals or you already understand what goals are and are ready to make a decision. Whatever the case may be, this is a positive sign. Get excited. Get motivated. Allow yourself to go through the process meticulously so you can set up the right goals and put together a process that can keep you motivated. Because let me tell you, chasing after your goals, as exciting as it may be in the beginning, can actually be grinding because there is a lot of pauses. There's a lot of times that you're going to be waiting. You have to be ready for that. And of course, don't even get me started about setbacks and challenges. What does it mean to dream of graduation exams? If you dream of taking exams so you can graduate, this is an indication that you are aware of the price you have to pay for success and achievement. The problem is, awareness is just part of the puzzle. You also have to give yourself emotional permission to go through the process. This requires sacrifice, commitment, dedication. A lot of people get pushed into that mental space because they feel they don't have any other choice. They just go through it because they limit their options. You might want to do this deliberately because a lot of people handle freedom of choice by wanting freedom from choice. It turns out that having so many choices only leads to analysis paralysis. You can't decide. There's just so many options. But if you limit your options, you have a higher chance of pushing through, scaling up, and achieving your big life goals. There's a famous story of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Computers. He was asked why he kept wearing the same mock turtleneck at work and in public appearances. He said he'd rather simplify his wardrobe decision making so he can reserve his willpower for other stuff that are more substantial and significant. You may want to do the same, because every single day you spend a tremendous amount of your willpower making choices about stuff that doesn't really move the needle. You need to reserve as much of your personal willpower on a day-to-day basis on stuff that can take your life to a whole other level. What does it mean to dream of your college graduation? If the graduation ceremony in your dream is specific to a college or university setting, this can indicate that you are paying closer attention to your personal education. Maybe in real life you're already a college graduate or you're going through college. The dream is not really about college, but what college represents. It represents education. Education takes many different forms. In fact, one of the best forms of education you could ever enjoy involves opening your mind to older people. Older people have walked the journey that you're on. They're on a different point. As they say, hindsight is 20/20. You definitely get to benefit from the wisdom of an older person. Even if they've made all the wrong decisions, they still have a lot to teach you, because at the very least, they can guide you on how not to make the same bad choices. When you dream that you are in a college graduation, your subconscious is also giving you a warning. A lot of people think that they are maturing when they think in a shorthand way. How does this work? Well, if you're trying to make a decision and you know that you have to consider 5 factors, you are thinking in a shorthand way when you only wait for 2 factors to appear and you assume that the other 3 factors are already present or will come shortly. You're in a hurry, so you jump to conclusions. And 9 times out of 10, it seems that you made the right choice. But if you think about it, had you waited for the other 3 factors, or if you had only decided to more closely examine them, you probably would have made a better choice. You probably would have made the optimal choice that produced the greatest benefits for the least cost. But as we get older, we become more impatient. We just focus on pattern detection. In fact, a lot of us would make a choice with very little facts or evidence. Your subconscious is trying to direct your attention to the fact that you are doing this, and it may not be all that helpful to you. So focus on personal education and develop the right emotional and mental habits so you can make better choices. What does it mean to dream of your high school graduation? Dreaming of a high school graduation indicates that there are still issues from your younger years that continue to hold you back, drag you down, or possibly even distort your thinking in the present day. A lot of this has to do with self-image, self-esteem, and past setbacks. Please understand that just because you felt insecure in the past and you ended up making the wrong decisions doesn't necessarily mean that you have to continue to be held back by such bad choices. Your past does not have to define you. It does not have to set the screenplay to your life. You have a lot more control over your life than you give yourself credit for. One of the best ways to free yourself from the shackles of the past is to look at it with cold, relentless honesty. If you do this, you would realize at least two things. First, the past wasn't as bad as you imagine it to be. Maybe you're just blowing things out of proportion. Maybe you're filling in details that didn't really exist. And what do you get out of it? That's right, emotional trauma. Stop it. It's not doing you any good. The second thing that you may walk away with when you confront your past memories or your personal narrative with cold, brutal honesty is that you may be lying to yourself all this time. Not only could you be blowing things out of proportion, but you're actually reading into your past your current insecurities, need for closure, or sense of inadequacy. Whatever it is you're doing, it's not helping you. High school is great for funny memories, as well as a sense that you have overcome certain challenges. But the past is the past. Leave it there. This is the real graduation. When you come to terms with past trauma, because now you have to live in the present if you want to control your future. What does it mean to dream of graduating from college as a child? If you've ever seen the movie, TV series, Doogie Howser, featuring a teenage doctor, this is the sense that you get when you see yourself in your dream graduating from college as a kid. Your subconscious is trying to communicate to you that you have what it takes to make it through any trying situation. That kid in your dream represents your sense of intuition. Unfortunately, for many of us, we have been trained to suspect or deal with our sense of intuition with a high degree of suspicion or even skepticism. Your subconscious is trying to tell you that this aspect of your total persona can actually be your secret weapon to navigating difficult terrain in your life. It could actually be the key to you unlocking your full potential. So embrace it. There's nothing awkward about it. There's nothing dorky, weird, goofy about it. You just need to refine it. Figure it out. Take it apart and then put it back together again. What is the meaning of graduating and receiving a diploma in your dream? If the main focus of your dream is the diploma or the piece of paper that was handed to you after the graduation ceremony, your subconscious can be telling you that you are reaching a point of achievement and recognition. This is the most basic reading of this type of dream, and compared to facts from your waking life, this may be the case. But I'd like to draw your attention to something deeper. I'd like to direct your focus on the possibility That diploma represents your attitude towards process. A lot of people, especially millennials and younger generations, are impatient with the process of achieving success. They'd like to stop, they'd like to start their journey to success near the finish line. Granted, we are at a point in our cultural and technological evolution where that is possible for some people, but for the vast majority of people, that is an illusion. You still have to go through the process. Worse yet, you still have to respect the process. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed. That diploma that you see in your dream symbolizes a choice. Do you respect the process? Do you agree to go through the process? Or are you going to try to buck it and find a shortcut? It turns out that all the energy that you put into looking for a shortcut, pursuing one dead end after another, is actually involves more emotional and psychic energy than if you had just gone through the process. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should go through the exact same steps that your parents went through. Those days are gone. This is not an invitation to nostalgia. Instead, I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about making the process your own. The basic elements of the process will remain. You will always start as a newbie. You will be tested. You will be given opportunities to scale up, innovate, and then pretty soon you can delegate. You would have a team. All of these are classic elements. You are free to rework them so they fit with modern realities. But you cannot ignore them. You cannot dispense with them altogether. I hope you can see the difference. What does it mean when a graduation ceremony is interrupted or postponed in your dream? If you find yourself in this type of dream situation, your subconscious is telling you about a very important fact of life. No matter how awesome your dreams are, and no matter how clearly defined your goals may be, life, sooner or later gets in the way. As the old saying goes, life is what happens when you're making other plans. At the most basic, your dream is telling you, get ready for setbacks. I'm not talking about just being technically ready or having some money set aside so you can recover. Those are important. But I'm talking about something that is much deeper. I'm talking about being emotionally ready. Because at the end of the day, trying to achieve personal transformation and living your best life, not just today, but long into the future, is very similar to the process of trying to get into a house. You can be like a lot of people and continue to knock on the door, and if the door isn't opened, you just go back the next day and knock on that same door. You're more than welcome to do things that way. That is the conventional method. But other people wouldn't take no for an answer. So they knock on the door, the front door, nothing happens, so they go to the side, they knock on there. No luck, so they go to the basement. They try there. They try the windows. Then they go to the roof. If everything else fails, they go back the next day and the day after that. Do you see the difference? Your subconscious is telling you that a lot of the times, what will account for your success is not how talented you are or how awesome or pure your intentions may be. Instead, it boils down to your persistence. Because setbacks, as formidable and seemingly paralyzing as they could be, eventually go away. There is an old Taoist saying that even the hardest rock will be melted away by the most persistent water drops. And this is absolutely true. If you go to caves, there are going to be big holes in the ground, and this ground is made of really solid rock, like granite. And you see the water dropping from the ceiling. The water drops right now may not cause a hole in the granite slabs of your life, but give it enough time, and eventually even the hardest part of you, and I'm talking about the most stubborn, obstinate, mule-headed part of you, will give way. What does it mean to dream about an upcoming graduation ceremony? If the main focus of your dream is the fact that the graduation is going to happen in the future and you feel a sense of anticipation, your subconscious is trying to reconnect you with the childlike mindset you had in the past. You know what's so awesome about Christmas or Hanukkah or any other year-end holiday celebration? You'd be surprised. It's not the gifts. It's not even the good food. What makes those events so memorable and so worth looking forward to is the sense of anticipation. As you go through your life for the rest of the year, you have something to look forward to. You become more hopeful. You get the idea in your head that regardless of what I'm going through right now and its ups and downs and twists and turns and challenges, I've got something nice waiting for me at the end of the year. It's nice to have hope. It's nice to have something to look forward to. And unfortunately, as we get older, we lose that. When kids finish with the Christmas events or other year-end celebrations, they focus on what will happen next as they look forward to the next Christmas event. So they may be in the middle of February or July, but they can find the energy that they need to make it through the day because they know they have got something nice happening down the road. You need to reconnect with this childlike mindset. Please understand that I'm not telling you to be childish. I'm telling you to be childlike. Big difference. Because when you reignite your sense of anticipation, you become more successful in life because you are able to find the strength to make it through the daily grind, daily sacrifices to keep leveling up and scaling up until you reach your big goals. And just like a child being presented that Christmas gift, you feel renewed. You feel that the wait was worth it. What is the meaning of a dream where you are walking in a graduation ceremony? If you are looking at the mental camera of your dream and the focus is on you walking on a stage or platform, your subconscious is trying to tell you that whatever achievement you are trying to attain in the present has to go through the proper process. You have to put one foot forward figuratively. You have to find the motivation to keep pushing forward. This means being patient. I know it's easy to accept the concept of patience on a theoretical level. But what if you have to deal with somebody who is immature? What if you're in a relationship with somebody who is very selfish, but you love that person? These are the kinds of trying situations where you have to keep pushing and keep showing the best part of yourself and your belief in the relationship or in the process. Why? When you keep doing that, there is a chance that that person will change. It can take a long time. In fact, in many cases, it never happens. But it is worth taking the risk. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing this because you're a partner. You're not doing this because of that shiny reward down the road. You're doing this because it's part of your life journey as an evolving organism. It is part of your personal transformation. It would be great if a lot of the people that we care about make it through in our journey and we end up at a destination together. But at the end of the day, it's about you and the transformation of your mind and the evolution of your values. Character matters. So put that foot forward. Find your confidence. Find your stride, and you will be okay. What is the meaning of seeing yourself in graduation grounds? If you find yourself in your dream, obviously in the middle of a graduation ceremony, wearing a cap and gown, but focusing more on the premises, what your subconscious is telling you is that context matters. You have to find yourself in the right place. And I'm not just talking about geographic places. Those are important. But what is more significant is the right emotional place. A lot of people meet up with what seems like tremendous material success, especially early on in their careers. But the problem is they haven't emotionally leveled up to that level or tier of success, and that's why they struggle. They think that there has to be more, when they should be thinking of significance, substantiality, meaning, and impact. It's as if you begun to live an adult life, but your mind is still that of a child. You have an adult body, and your face is beginning to age quickly. But spiritually and emotionally speaking, you're still 8 years old. What's wrong with this picture? When your subconscious shows you the graduation grounds, this is your cue to be at the right place, both geographically, professionally, and emotionally. For that to happen, you have to give yourself permission to understand and overcome challenges. Thank you for watching this video from exploreyourdreamlife.com. Please click the like button and leave a comment. Please subscribe. If you would like customized and personalized dream interpretations, leave your request in the comment section. What is the meaning of finishing and presenting your graduation thesis? One of the biggest indicators of finishing a process is when you have to take some sort of test or write a paper. If this is the central motif of your graduation dream, your subconscious is telling you to take stock of how your life has gone so far. A lot of people may think, I've led a boring life. There's nothing special about me. Well, that's just you talking. Because if you really put in the effort to think about the interesting things that have happened in your life, or to just simply come up with a timeline, a lot of interesting happenings, gossip, drama, or even personal trauma will come to the surface. And once you go down that rabbit hole, you'd be surprised as to how many things you will find. It's like writing a memoir. A lot of people think that they don't have any kind of interesting personal experience that would make for a good memoir. So they never write. They never produce that book. And it's really a shame because most of us could benefit if they had done that. You are not boring. You are not inconsequential. You are not just this anonymous blip in the otherwise great process of evolutionary time. You are special. There's only one of you. There was never a person that's just like you in the past. Nobody is like you today, and there will nobody who is going to be exactly like you in the future. You will be missed by the universal consciousness. So do yourself a big favor. Look back. Maybe keep a journal. Maybe take a digital voice recorder and just speak into it when you remember something from your past. When you play back that audio or go through your earlier diary entries, maybe you will get inspired to fill in more details. You are writing your life story. You are your own personal life historian. Make it count. Because when you come up with this written record, maybe publish a memoir through the help of cheap ghostwriters like Gene Eugenio, or maybe even transcribe your book for cheap, like using services like dictateYourOwnBook.com. You leave a record. You'd be surprised as to how many people could benefit from you sharing your story with the world.